Guys, welcome back. Today I'm doing something a little bit different in my album. I have moved on from pocket pages and now I'm working on my 12 by 12 spreads. For today's video, I'm actually using a kit. It is a kit that I got from a friend of mine, and that is her information there on the screen. If you're interested in some of these kits, you can go to her website and she has tons of kits available. This one is something that I got a long time ago, so it is no longer available, I don't believe. But it's all this kind of fussy cutting, paper piecing type of kits. So definitely check her out if you're interested. And I am not going with the exact layout that she had on her picture, but I just kind of made it my own. I didn't want to make it a two-page spread. I'm actually going to use part of the paper and things like that on the next layout that I do. So anyway, if you're interested in those kits, make sure you check her website out. So moving on, I just put these little guys together. The kit is called Funny Pages and it has Mickey and Pluto, and I think this page is super adorable. I love these cut aparts. I think it is very funny, especially Pluto, how he is like laughing with his mouth wide open. So I wanted to make sure I use this because I thought the photos and then the paper piecing went well together, because this is photos of us after we got off of one of the water rides and we have our like rain gear on, and I thought it was kind of a goofy picture, so I wanted to make sure I used these characters. So I took the paper that looked like comic strips and I just cut them down into two pieces, and I'm just kind of layering them off skew, and then I'm going to put my photos on top of that. So I'm just mounting my photos first on this black cardstock. I wanted to give it some grounding, or just one picture actually. I wanted to give it some grounding. I thought that would make the picture pop a little bit more. And then I'm going to tuck these tags in and kind of figure out where I want to stick Mickey and Pluto here. So you can see me playing here. I'm actually going to end up using Mickey on another layout because it just didn't seem to fit. He was pretty big and it just couldn't figure out a way to get him to work on this particular page. But don't fret, he is coming back to the next layout I make. So here is another piece of that same comic strip paper, and I'm just trimming it down because I want to put a border at the top and the bottom of my page, and you'll see in a little bit that I'm going to trim off the top of that and then I'm going to add that to the bottom. I felt like it needed some grounding there at the bottom, and because that piece of the top was a little darker, I think it would look good. I thought it would look good at the bottom as kind of a grounding element, and it kind of fades from a lighter color to a darker color. So I'm going to play with that a little bit. I'm going to end up inking all of my edges of my tags, my strips, and everything, because some of it had some darker colors and some of it didn't, but when I cut it down, it kind of lost some of that, so I wanted to bring that back. So I'm just using a simple brown ink pad and inking around all of the edges of everything. So I'm going to spare you watching me do all that. And now it is complete, and I just like how that looks. It makes the strips pop off the page a bit more, and it just kind of makes all the pages look, or the pieces on the page look a little more cohesive. So now I'm playing around trying to figure out how I want to put it back again, because of course I pulled it all up to ink, and I'm pretty much going to keep this look here as far as the layout goes, and I'm just going to kind of mess around with this a bit. Now I thought the background looked super simple and kind of boring, so in a little while you're going to see that I will do some mixed media in the background, but first I'm going to add some of this ribbon to both the tags. And I don't do anything on the tags, I don't believe. I think I keep them plain. I just like the look of them, and I really like the black and white gingham ribbon that also came in the kit. So I'm going to keep that like that. I probably am going to just make it a little bit, I think I trimmed them off a bit. I could be wrong, but that is kind of how it's going to look. So I'm going to pull everything off here in just a little bit, and I am going to add the mixed media. It just, like I said, it looked like it needed something. It felt like the strips and stuff are floating a bit on the page. But before I put the mixed media on, I want to make sure I kind of keep the layout the way it is. I don't want to disturb the kind of look of it. So I'm just going to take some Dina Wakley clear gesso. This is my absolute favorite clear gesso. I'm sure there's others out there. I think Finnabar has some clear gesso that you can get at Michael's, so you can use a 40% off coupon, and it's very similar to this Dina Wakley gesso. But I love it because it's super, super smooth and creamy, and I used to use the Liquitex, but the Liquitex was very grainy, and it just drove me crazy. I didn't like that graininess, and it seemed to like kind of chew up my paper when I scraped it across the page. So I like this Dina Wakley because it's super smooth, and it dries super kind of like matte, and you can't really even tell it's there once it's dry. So it works perfect for this mixed media, especially on like a cardstock like this, sometimes when you put the clear gessos on these kind of solid cardstocks, it will kind of look like it has like a wet appearance, and that's kind of what the Liquitex did. The Dina Wakley doesn't do that at all. When you put the Dina Wakley down and it dries, you can't even tell barely that you had that on there. So you don't see like a watermark, if you will, on the page, and I like that as well. So I'm just taking some Lindy's Stamp Gang. I'm going to use this color green, and then I'm going to use another green. I think it might be, I don't know, I think it's called like firework spray or something like that that I got at Joann's. I think that's what I use. We'll see here in a second. I can't quite remember. But this is just a flat spray. It doesn't have any shimmer or anything in it, and I'm just using the packaging technique, and I outlined kind of where my layout was going or where my pictures were going, so I knew where to put the gesso and the mixed media, so I wasn't messing with, you know, in the center where you're not going to see it. So I'm going to keep using the packaging technique. I will take the little spray nozzle out and I will splat it around. I keep putting my photo back too, just to make sure that the mixed media is going where I want it to. And that's kind of nice too, because then you can kind of see, so you can keep putting the photo back and forth until you get the amount that you want. So here I'm just using some splatters. I'm going to dry them up just a little bit so it doesn't take so long. I am going to use my heat tool, I believe, on this as well, just to kind of get it dry faster. And then I will blot some of this with just the paper towel. And I'm just using the corner of this napkin to kind of blot up some of the bigger dots. And I find that if you blot them up too much, then they won't be as dark. So if you want a lighter look, then you want to blot them all up. And if you want a darker look, just let them sit there. I found too that if you don't use your heat gun and you just let it dry, that sometimes works better too. But I'm impatient and I want to keep going. So a lot of times I will use my heat gun on this. So you can see here, I'm just blotting it, trying to dry it up quicker so I can keep moving on. And then this is at the point where I'm thinking I need some other color. It just looked a little flat still. So I'm going to pull out more of a citrusy green and use that. Oh, actually it's not the fireworks. It is an October afternoon spray actually. It's a little bit more creamy, like a more of a painty kind of a texture, I guess, if that's right. And I like that. I'm just going to add in a couple places just to get a little bit more brightness to the page, and I think I like that a lot better. And the reason I picked green is because of the collar on Pluto. I thought it would just kind of make his collar pop. So I'm going to use the nozzle here to splatter on some colors of that more citron-y color. And then that's the background. And it does look like a mess, but it looks better when you put the photos down. So just keep playing and then keep putting your photo back, or your clusters or whatever you're putting down, until you like what it looks like. I'm just going to trim down these edges and then add this to that brown cardstock. I felt like it kind of gave it a base. This also came in the kit, the brown cardstock. And now I'm just going to start working on gluing everything down. So I wanted to say thank you guys so much for joining me on this video and this little series of my Disney trip. I do have some more 12 by 12 pages coming up. Most of them are 12 by 12. I have a couple that are a smaller size, and I'll put that in the description when I'm making the video so you can kind of tell what I'm doing in each one. But I'm really thankful for you guys coming along with me. This has been a really fun series to do. I know you guys really like Disney, so it's fun to share the Disney stuff with you guys. And definitely, if you guys are doing your Disney albums and you have a channel or a Facebook page or anything like that, let me know in the description below, and let the others know in the description below so we can check out your stuff as well. That'd be so much fun to see what other people are doing. If you got an inspiration from any of these photos too, or these layouts, definitely let me know. I'd love to check them out. You can also let me know on my Facebook page if you have anything that you want to share. I believe it lets you add pictures and comments there, so if it doesn't, let me know, but I'm pretty sure it lets others put comments in. Well, I know it lets people put comments, but I think you can put pictures as well. So feel free to post your photos of what you've done on your Disney trips on my Facebook page. The link to my Facebook page is below in the description box if you're interested. So now I'm just kind of ruffling up or crinkling up the corners. I wanted to look like they were kind of old and worn. So I just kind of used a glue stick and I kind of smushed it down the back, and then I kind of pressed and wrinkled the paper at the same time. And then I'm adding these buttons. I did put a little bit of white twine through the buttons to make them look like they're stitched. And then I'm just gluing them down with my liquid Scotch Quick Dry glue. So you can see I'm just using that glue stick and then just smushing and crinkling, and then pressing that down and holding it in place for a few minutes, and then that holds pretty well. And I'm just letting it look kind of ripped and torn. I like that look. And then I'm going to add a button here. And I just hold it in place for a while. I use liquid glue and it does hold it, but I probably recommend using some glue dots now that I'm thinking about it. I think the glue dots would probably have held the buttons better, or will hold the buttons better. I find that if you're trying to glue plastic to paper, sometimes the liquid glue works, but I find that the glue dots keep it on, so when you're taking it in and out of a page protector, they don't end up popping off on you. So that's a suggestion too. So I ended up adding a few more buttons to the top page, and then I'm adding some more ink to the right because I trimmed off that piece. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to add my title, which is called Kali River Rapids. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like the video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I would love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. And if you have any questions or comments, leave those below. I'll talk to you guys really soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.